Becky. How can I help
Becky.
you?
What are you doing?
Well, I'm trying to write some emails, reading Madness and Civilization, and thinking about death in general.
Do you know, we're just about to go to the death group. I don't suppose you've got a poem on death, have you?
Well, actually, there happens to be just right one lying on my table. It's called On Another Death of the Moth.
Do you think you could read it for us?
Yes, sure. Do you want me to do it now?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay. Might take a little while though.
That's fine, we've got all the time.
Okay, so this is called Another Death of the Moth, and it's gonna come out in the third sequence of my new book, which is called The Swimming Pool, which is weird because it's about a moth, obviously, and not swimming pools, but it's somehow in my head fitting the idea of pools.
Do you mind if I take a seat?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Would you like a cup of tea?
No, we don't have
Okay.
time for that, yeah.
Right, all right. So, on another death of the moth. And so, I watched the moth stuck inside the apocalyptic ceiling's circular lamp in the bathroom for a long time. Although, how long is long enough, you may rightly wonder, or more precisely, how short is short enough to avoid lapsing, hurting, harming within the short time we have before we die. The moth, the tautologized moth, tautologized because of the endlessly repeated version of its own death in the history of art. This moth, that one time was another moth, yet the same moth who lives its life in the same modus vivendi as any other moths, which died many dystopian deaths, once already posthumously in Wolf's essay 1942, an unusual modus mortis, paradoxically caused by writing it all down, other times already as post-mortem dehydrated parchment, flimsy postscriptum mourned by W.G. Sabard in the corner of a godforsaken East Anglian motel room, a small body of a life that went through a series of transubstantiations and permutations, the last time showing its fatal appearance in France during the Euro Final 2016, swarming with its many altered pre-mortem cells into the entire football pitch, one of itself landing and ending its life on the bridge of Ronaldo's nose. So this deadly moth, the live moth, the being non-being, is the mothephobic's worst nightmare, one could say. It, the tautologized moth, while alive, was obviously drawn to the laser light with an inherent desire for or obsession about small illuminated planets, and crawled in secretly one night from the top through the thin crack between the ceiling and the rim, but in order to crawl out again it would have needed to take flight, for which there was very little room inside, the lamp inside that was outside, the space of the illuminated bathroom, inside the flat, inside the house, inside the street, inside the tiny Tunstgram light bulb. I tried to screw off this globe from the firmament several times to free the moth without success. So instead, I was involuntarily exposed to the slow death of the uninvited being whose non-being I dreaded more than it being still alive. During its process of dying, it went through various stages of metamorphosis in a hopeless attempt to survive, or I should say, prolong its agony inside the globe outside. So at times it shrank its body, closing its wings tight, as if to camouflage with an inherent desire to be something or someone else. Sometimes moved locations within the circumference. At other times it tried to fly or crawl in circles. And there were times when it thought it was no moth, but glass. All repetitions, the cyclical life and death gestures were x-rayed, even enlarged, one could say, like the small acoustic body of sound through water, maximized through the orbicular glass. And with each day I was sinking through too in depression. It took a week for the moth to let go, the slowest week for both of us, in which time slows down and fear speeds up. Because who could coexist with an agonizing being? The mothephobic's worst kind of horror, darkest dread, the liminal terror or even hope between being and non-being, knowing or unknowing what awaits every time you arrive or depart. And so, one afternoon, on my return to home, inhabiting outside but situated inside, first thing was to check the state of the creature inside the lamp inside that was outside. It did not react to the source of illumination. The idle body of the moth, composed from the same and only moth that is of nothing else other than itself, its once rigorous, small, inaudible yes to life moved into rigor mortis, in which it decided to leave its dehydrated carcass for me in full glory, wings stretched open, antennae erect. The anatomy of the body, its whole structure inside now stuck wholly inside, forever visible. Trachea, aorta, and there, its long-chambered heart, as if still moving a tiny bit, as if it were saying, "Death, no death, I'm here." It's a jest.
Thank you very much, Aggie. Well, I suppose we better get to our death group then.
Yes. What time does it start?
Oh, probably now.
Okay, I might see you there then.
Yeah, great.
Okay,
Thanks.
I look
Bye.
forward to it. Bye.